believe in yourself. It doesn't matter what you want to do with your life. It doesn't matter if you want to be a world-class chef. It doesn't matter if you want to be an astronaut or a scientist. As long as you believe yourself and just hold yourself to what you want to do, you'll be golden.
Welcome to Local Music Talks. I'm your host, Kayla, and I'm here to learn all about NEPA local musicians and what makes them each and all unique. Today I have with me Billy McGuire of Stars Burn Red. Billy is a musician of over 15 years. He plays bass in local hard rock band Stars Burn Red and has released solo music. He also played guitar in a pit band for a local theater production of Footloose. How are you today, Billy?
I'm doing wonderful, Kayla. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for making the drive all the way up here to Factoryville. Sorry, it's in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, no problem. I love driving long roads.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful, too, especially during the sunset and in the fall. That's the one nice thing about this campus.
Oh, I could definitely imagine.
So, can you tell me how you began playing music?
I started playing music in elementary school. In 4th grade, I started on the violin, and that was kind of like the starting point that really got me into music. For a few years before that, I was always obsessed with listening to the radio. My Aunt Michelle would always have like Blink 182, Good Charlotte playing, and I was really into that.
Pop punk?
Love it. My first concert was Good Charlotte.
All right.
When I was 8 years old. All I saw was pretty much everyone's butts because I was pretty much like seeing everyone's like lower back. But like that was probably the catalyst that really got me into music. I'm like, this is what I want to do.
Okay, so what was the jump from violin to the other instruments that you play?
The jump was, once I started violin, I'm like, I like this. But then I ended up hopping onto guitar around 2008.
Okay.
Because at that time, I'm like, okay, I really love, at the time, pop punk, some classic rock. And then Guitar Hero 2 got big. And my one friend brought it up. He's like, oh, Bill, I think you're going to like this. We ended up playing it nearly every single day over the summer. And then I'm like, you know what? I said to my parents, I'm like, yeah, I think I want a guitar. And I've been asking since I was a little kid, right around the time I started playing violin. I'm like, yeah, I want a guitar.
Okay.
And my parents were like, let's wait and see. And I understand a lot of parents are like, well, he's kind of young, so we don't know if he'll stick to it. So they didn't really want to buy it, have me play it for a week or two, and have it sit and collect dust. But 2008, I kind of just start really playing guitar over the summer before 8th grade, and then I just got really into it, where I would pretty much come home from school, play for about 4 or 5 hours, go to bed.
Oh, wow.
Rinse and repeat, and I did that for pretty much up until my junior year of high school. And then I'm like, okay, I'm getting the hang of this. And right around my senior year of high school, I start to write my own music. Most of it just riffs, guitar ideas. And I honestly wish I had recordings of it from that time, because I would love to go back and see where I came from and see like how my writing style developed. But yeah, I found a lot of poems and lyrics from right around I graduated high school in 2013, and I kind of saw how like my writing style changed a lot. I'm like, okay, this is pretty nice. But it wasn't until 2018 that I really kind of set my ways on wanted to really get into music. I picked up bass at that time, 10 years after playing guitar. I dabbled in mandolin for a little bit.
Oh, wow.
And 2019, after having recording software for like 3 years at that point, I started really getting into like the whole recording thing. But from that point of learning how to record my own music, it was pretty much this rapid growth of me just pumping out even more ideas than I already was, and just watching that exponential growth. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I think this is the right path. Like,
yeah,
regardless of me being famous, I don't really care to make it big, but
Mm-hmm.
I love creating. I'm like, I gotta just find ways to create, keep on doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I end up meeting back up with a few of my friends around summer of 2021, and I started playing bass for them in Stars Burn Red.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, when I joined back with them, it was my friend John on guitar and lead vocals and my friend Landy on drums, and they're like, oh, Bill, we know you've been playing guitar for years, we've jammed with you a couple times, why don't you be the guitarist? And I said, well, I play bass, I could stick out on bass. And we were all talking how they just recently ended up breaking up from a band, and they lost a couple musicians. And
Mm-hmm.
I said to them, I'm like, the three of us, we all get along. We really have a good groove together, have it really going. So I said, I'm like, I'll play bass. We could keep it a three-piece. We don't have to worry about finding other musicians. We have all grounds covered with
Mm-hmm.
guitar, bass, drums, and 2 people doing vocals. And then Landy ended up leaving the band. We still definitely miss him, but he ended up deciding, he's like, yeah, I just need to take a little bit of a break,
Mm-hmm.
step away, have some stuff going on. We're like, no problem, bud. We got you. We're here if you ever need us. And then our current drummer, Mitchie, joined right about a year ago.
Okay.
And we end up going through a couple of the gigs that we had booked at the beginning of 2022. And then work schedule for all 3 of us. It seemed like we will go 2-3 weeks without really being able to meet up in person.
Mm-hmm.
And when we could, only 2 of us were able to get together.
Yeah.
And it was never certain on which 2 of us were able to get into a room. And there was one point to where we weren't able to actually practice for like 3 months together.
Wow.
So we all began kind of like looking for other jobs because we all knew we were like, yeah, we need some change. And then going into this year, right around Thanksgiving up until now, we began to really practice a lot more, where we pretty much practice every other week.
Okay.
And we're like, all right, awesome. We're like, yeah, we got a decent amount of originals that we have, and we've been writing a lot more material, and we pretty much dive anywhere from pop punk to pretty much heavy metal, and just the style of originals that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things where we're like, yeah, we want to push and really start to playing out a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, yeah, let's keep on going.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of musicians actually say that I feel like we're about to see a big boost in the music scene at NEPA.
Yeah.
Especially with the NEPA scene and with the big break and everything that's kind of going on right now to support the local musicians.
Yeah, and honestly, once we got out of the main portion of the pandemic, leading into 2021, Rich House at the NEPA scene has busted his rear end for
Mm-hmm.
years, and since 2021, I honestly think he's probably one of the biggest reasons the local music scene has been really kind of revitalizing
Mm-hmm.
and really going bigger and growing, is because he's always there, always supporting every local artist. And then AL from the Big Break, also in the same boat. He's like, yeah, I got a really good idea, and really helping
Mm-hmm.
local musicians out. And both entities, the Big Break and the NEPA scene, they're honestly doing really great work.
Yeah, they are.
Such
Now we
great
just
work.
got to get more people out there supporting,
Right.
and maybe some more venues that aren't bars.
Right.
I hear a lot of people say stuff like that.
And that's the thing too. I was talking to, especially with the band, we said that too. They were like, yeah, there's a lot of really good venues, but most of them are bars. Like the V Spot, the Finnegans are also really good. We just recently lost Carr Hall
Mm-hmm.
a couple months ago, but I know I'm gonna miss a lot. I know we have the Keystone stage up in Oliphant,
Yeah.
but I know we have Room 221, but like you said, we definitely need more venues that aren't bars because
Well, that was a big issue for me. I just recently turned 21, and I couldn't have gone to. I even had people asking me to take photos, and I couldn't take photos because I wasn't 21 to like go in the bar. You know what I mean?
And like, yeah, that's another thing too. It's like we definitely need a lot more venues that are more all ages because there's a lot of kids, and like I'm 28, so like I feel old. Like, but we have a lot of kids in high school and college that are starting in bands and starting playing out, and it gets to that point to where like a lot of bar owners are still kind of off-putting, like, oh, you guys are only 20? I'm not too sure about.
Yeah, I tried to play an open mic at the V Spot, and I couldn't because I was just going to like play bass with somebody, and I got kicked right out because I was 18 or 19. But it sucked. I was just trying to play. I had my bass on I was like, I'm not trying to drink. I'm just trying to play. But I get it. Like that's his bar. He does not want people under the age of 21. But it sucks that that's the best spot for music in the area.
Yeah. I know Vinny has such an amazing spot there.
Oh yeah.
But like that's the thing that also sucks. It's pretty much a double-edged sword. It's a really good location, really supportive ownership and faculty. Well, yeah. That's probably the best word for it. But really supportive people there. But it just kind of sucks that it's also a bar, so they kind of want to make sure that their rear ends are covered, so they don't get into any legal messes, which is perfectly understandable.
Yeah, of course. So, who writes your music?
It's solo stuff. It's pretty much very rarely do I work with collaborators on like solo material.
Okay.
I did release an EP last year with one of my friends, Claire. She lives up in Canada, and we kind of worked on online, and she's like, yeah, I have some lyrics, I have some song ideas. She's like, yeah, I just need them developed. And I was like, yeah, I got you. I pretty much arranged all the music for her, did that. But with Stars Burn Red, it's pretty much with the newer stuff that we're writing with our new drummer. She helps out with some of the writing, but for the most part, for Stars Burn Red, majority of the songs were either one brought in from John, our guitarist and singer, from an older project, or I've been bringing in quite a few song ideas that either are partially finished or fully finished. And I'm like, okay, hey, I have some ideas. And for the ones that are partially finished, I'll just say to John and be like, hey, I have a general idea of the lyrics and the melody. I'm like, I have a couple ideas for the parts, but I'm like, I'll gladly, if you have any ideas on how to make this better, let me know. And it's this weird blend where it's either me or him will get an idea. Yeah. And then we'll just kind of build off each other with it. So it's kind of like this.
It's collaborative.
It's pretty much, collaborative. We're pretty much like, the way we do it is pretty much like Lennon and McCartney and the Beatles, where we both kind of have all these ideas, and we're like, okay, let's listen to them, and work from there.
Where does the inspiration for your lyrics come from?
For
the ones that you write personally.
For the lyrics that I write, they're usually very introspective and reflective.
Okay.
Where I'll kind of think of different situations where I'll be reading a news article where I'll see something going on, or I'll think of an experience that I had, or I'll see my friends going through an experience. I'll write based off of that, kind of writing on this element of joy and emotions, just pretty much like a collective emotion that people can relate to, where I have this one song in my head, which is the title, not actually in my head. Yeah, I know what you mean, But my one song in my head that I released, the chorus is, she is in my head singing that she wants me dead. She is in my head and she won't leave. And then one of the lines from the verse of the song that really sticks with me is, drowning in a sea of sorrow, where all my screams become whispers, to where that line really speaks to me a lot, to where just from that line in the verse as well as the chorus, it conveys this emotion to where a person feels trapped, to where they feel like they're calling out for help and they can't really get it out there. And I've had people ask me about the meaning of the song, what it means. And when I wrote it, it was in 2020, and at that point, it was a year after my mom was diagnosed with leukemia. And
I'm sorry.
Thank you. But she's still here with us, and she went through radiation, chemo. She had a bone marrow transplant. And my dad asked me, he's like, Bill, is that song about your mother? Like, and I said, I'm like, oh, no, not really. It's just coincidentally, it was written around that time frame. And I'm like, oh, it's just kind of just so happened. But I'm like, yeah, I kind of wrote it in a way it could be interpreted many different ways, to where it could be someone dealing with the loss of someone, someone dealing with someone going through a hard time. But I also said, I'm like, if you think about the lines of like drowning in a sea of sorrow, where my screams become whispers, and followed up by she's in my head singing that she wants me dead, it could also be a sign of someone could interpret that as someone dealing with mental illness or someone dealing with an addiction, whether it's alcohol or anything else. So like I kind of write something to where it can be interpreted in many different ways. So depending on who the person is listening to it, they could really relate to it.
Yeah. Do you feel like your music has ever had an impact on others?
I mean, I always, like many musicians, I always feel like a lot people don't know who I am, or I always feel like, oh yeah, I don't think people really feel changed by my music. But a few friends I made online through numerous different servers on Discord, as well as other sites online like Reddit, they listen to my music and they're like, this is really good. I like what you're saying. And they're like, yeah, this is good. I'm a big fan of what you're doing. And it kind of really humbles me to think that there's people out there that feel connected in some way or form to my music.
Yeah.
Which is very, very humbling, because
it gives it a purpose.
It gives it a purpose, and I just kind of make stuff just because I get a random idea. I'm like, oh, okay, I wonder what this is going to sound like if I come up with the idea myself. Like it's just so crazy how like some songs I'll come up with just like out of thin air, just for the hell of it, and someone's like, oh, I love that. That was really good. I'm like, really? It's just some random shower thought that I had? Like,
people want to know it.
That's what you're doing for it? That's what's doing it for you? Like,
no, that's awesome though. Do you have any musicians that inspire your music?
I have such a range of musicians that really do inspire me.
What are the top 3 that you take musical inspiration from, that you feel like you sound like?
Oh, that's definitely hard, because with my playing on guitar, I always loved rock, but Slash from Guns N' Roses has always been one of my favorite guitar players, and he's definitely one I sound like the most.
Okay. But
other artists that really inspired me were a gothic synth rock band, The Birthday Massacre.
Okay.
To where you listen to my stuff, you listen to them, you could hear a little bit of similarity, but you wouldn't know unless, like, I said it. And then I've been on a big Paramore kicks.
Me too.
For like the past like decade.
The last like month. Like I go on like different kicks of bands, but like I've been listening to Paramore like nonstop the last month.
Right? Like I'm the same way, where I'll go on kicks with bands.
Yeah.
To where I'll listen to one band for like 2 months straight, not listen to them for a year, get back into them. But then, like, my biggest musical influence is, weirdly enough, Eddie Van Halen. And
okay.
Like, when people talk about, like, what celebrities dying, they're like, oh, I'm so sad, I'm so heartbroken. And I always thought growing up, I'm like, I'm like, I can understand you appreciate like their art, what
Mm-hmm.
they've done, their acting career.
But you don't know
But
them,
I'm
are
like, you don't
you?
know them. Why are you
Yeah.
that attached to them? And then, Michael Jackson died. I saw a lot of people really upset that
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jackson passed away. Prince died. A lot of people are upset. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. They're really awesome musicians. I get it. They're really awesome musicians. Like you love their music, but like you're not personally connected to
Mm-hmm.
them. Like that seems kind of weird. But then Eddie Van Halen died,
Mm-hmm.
and I cried for like a week.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
It was weird, cause just like growing up, I would watch videos of him play live, and just seeing like that passion and joy that he had for music, and playing the guitar. Like that's what made me realize that exact passion that he had playing a guitar solo is the exact same passion that I had for music.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's what made me realize, I think that's why I liked him so much, because like he kind of has that same exact passion that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of hit me hard when he passed away, because I'm like, that's like, he's pretty much like the living embodiment of like my passion for music. So
Yeah.
like, I feel like a little part of me died when he passed away, because like it was
sorry.
weird.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't until he passed away that it made me realize, I'm like, this is what people mean when they say they're sad that a celebrity passed
I
away.
know.
Like, it was weird.
I know. Sometimes it takes something like that for a realization.
Yep.
How do you feel about performing live?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
What's your favorite show that you've played?
I honestly think, it was when I did Footloose. My one.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little about that?
That was so much fun.
I've been in, I think, probably 6 or 7 pits. It's my favorite thing to do. I love accompanying a drama play.
Right.
It's so fun because it's all the random little, like, in-between sounds. And
like it's the whole little in-between segue pieces that are so
Mm-hmm.
much fun. But my one friend, I don't know if she'll hear this, but Miss Alex Kiak, amazing girl she is. She's around this time last year, she shared a post from Jen Hunter, who was the music producer for the Footloose production at Little Theater of Wilkes-Barre.
Okay.
Alex shared Jen's post saying like, oh, hey, we need a guitarist. The guitarist we normally use, he has other gigs. He's not in the area, can't make it. And I was like, oh, yeah, guitarist that could read sheet music. And I thought, I started on violin. They teach you how to read sheet music. I know
Yeah.
how to read it. I know how to read chord charts. I'm like, I'm in. Add Jen on Facebook, message her. I'm like, hey, I saw your post. I'm down.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those things where I'm like, it's a learning experience. I could brush up my skills of
Mm-hmm.
reading music in terms of on guitar, but like it was so much fun where I got my work schedule situated where I would work from like 7:30 to 4,
Mm-hmm.
4:30, go home, eat, shower really quick, drive down to Wilkes-Barre from Scranton,
Mm-hmm.
get there around 5:30, and I won't be home until like 1 in the morning. Just practice for like a week straight, but like
Yeah, it's called Tech Week. Everything
Yeah,
happens at once. Yeah.
like it was so much fun just doing tech week. But the second weekend, we had to do 2 shows on Saturday because the previous Saturday we had a snowstorm, so we had a matinee show and then the regularly scheduled night show.
Mm-hmm.
But that entire day with both performances is probably one of the best performances I've had musically, and enjoyment with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Just collectively with the group of musicians I was with. Like, it was me, the Jen on keys, Dirk on bass, Justin was woodwinds,
Mm-hmm.
and we had Rob on drums. And I am humbled to play with those musicians.
Mm-hmm.
They were some of the best musicians I have ever met and played with, and I felt like in such awe and humble to be playing with such amazing musicians. I'm
Yeah.
like, yo,
That
It-
does sound like a great experience to have had.
it was so much fun, and probably one of the best things that I probably decided to do. I'm like,
Mhm.
It was so much fun, and I would do it again.
Yeah,
in a
I'm
heartbeat.
considering once I graduate posting, like, if anybody needs clarinet, saxophone, flute for pit, like, I'm more than happy to come down to some of the schools, you know, because we used to have, like outside players, like, do our pit, and, like, I went with Forest City for a while, too. But I love drama. It's just that week takes up so much time. If you have a job,
Right.
it's hard to maneuver that.
Yeah, it's definitely hard, but it's so worth it.
So, do you follow a process or ritual before a performance to get rid of nerves or anxiety? Like, you guys have, like, a little secret handshake you do or something?
No,
No? You
I-
just get up there and do it?
I get up there and do it.
All right.
Ever since I was a kid, like at parent-teacher conferences in elementary school, my teachers always tell my parents, yeah, you know, Billy's a really nice kid, really quiet. And my second grade teacher said to my parents, they're like, yeah, you know, Billy, every time, he never raises his hand, always keeps to himself, you know, he always seems like he's always like daydreaming, but every time I call and ask him a question, he knows the answer and he's paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was like, oh, maybe it's because he's bored. Maybe it's because of that. But, like, I've always been a quiet kid, kind of shy. But with performing, I absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's, to me, I look forward to it. It's thrilling to where I get nerves, not because I'm thinking to myself, oh, what if I mess up? What if I don't do good? What if they don't like it? I get nerves because I'm just so excited to get up on stage.
Oh, okay.
I live for it.
Gotcha.
I absolutely love it. Like, I'm more nervous that they're going to say, yeah, you know what? No, we're not having it on stage now. Like, I'm more excited. I'm more nervous that they're just going to say to me, yeah, no, never mind. We changed our minds. You guys could just go home. Than, oh, what if I mess up? Like,
yeah. All right. So, what is the best piece of advice another musician has ever given you?
Besides the love what you do, which is kind of cliche, of if you love what you do, you feel like you'll never work a day in your life, which is a very cliche proverb. But one of the best things that another musician taught me was one of my old guitar teachers, Paul. He said to me, where one of the best pieces of advice he ever gave me was always being aware of where beat 1 in the measure is.
Okay.
Regardless of if you're just playing a straight 4/4 beat, or if you're playing a waltz, or if you're playing a shuffle, no matter what time signature you're in, as long as you're aware where beat 1 is and the start of each measure is, you'll be golden.
Yeah.
And that really, really hit with me to where even now, I'll be listening to music on the radio, jamming with other musicians. Doesn't matter what song, what genre, I'm always subconsciously listening. Oh, okay, that's the downbeat. That's beat 1 right there. That's beat 1.
Okay.
Okay, and like that really stuck with me to
Yeah.
where I'm always hearing in the back of my head, hey, Bill, just make sure you know where beat 1 is.
Okay.
And you'll be good.
Yeah. So, is that the advice that you would give to another musician, or do you have different advice you would give someone?
I feel like that definitely helps if you intend to really play out with other people, or if you're really going to get into the whole world of recording, which it's absolutely crucial to know where beat 1 is. But honestly, the advice I would give any musician is, well, the advice I would give any musician or any person is just believe in yourself. It doesn't matter what you want to do with your life. Doesn't matter if you want to be a world-class chef. Doesn't matter if you want to be an astronaut or a scientist. As long as you believe yourself and just hold yourself to what you want to do, you'll be golden. And at the end of the day, you'll have people that will be cheering you on and supporting you. But if you lose that sense of self and what you want to do, you're going to find it really hard to accomplish what you want to do.
All right. So, you kind of said before you wouldn't want to, but would you want to be famous?
See, I don't... Well known for doing music, yes. Being famous, not so much. To where I would want like the Tony Hawk approach, where people know Tony Hawk as, oh yeah, that really famous skateboarder. But now when people see him in public, he posts all the time how people don't recognize him.
Yeah.
To where I would want something like that, to where I would want people to know, oh yeah, that Billy McGuire, he does music, he's really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would not want to be able to go out in public and have people be like, oh hey, I know you.
Mm-hmm.
Please, no.
No, I know.
To where it's like I want people to know what I do, but not know who I am,
Okay.
if that makes any sense.
No, I definitely get you there. So can you tell us a little bit about what you do outside of music?
Outside of music, one of my biggest passions has always been cooking.
Okay.
Albeit I haven't worked in a kitchen in like almost 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I still love cooking to this day. And as much as I grew up playing video games, I actually prefer just going out on long walks.
Yeah.
Long walks and hikes into woods.
You go up to Naog?
Yeah, like I could literally just walk up there. It takes me
yeah.
like 10 minutes.
I go up there a lot too.
Where I love it. I love being outside. I love walking. Occasional video game here and there, but outside of music, I honestly think cooking might be...
What's your favorite dish you make? What's the best dish you make?
Honestly, the best dish I made was very recently, and it was this blackberry lamb stew.
Oh my God.
And it was absolutely amazing, to where I pretty much like cooked down some of the bone and fat from the lamb that I had left over, turned that into a gravy stock, added like mint jelly, blackberries, and it was this really savory, sweet blend for a stew. Like, I can't even describe how tender the meat came out.
Yeah, that sounds super
And,
interesting.
Like, it was so weird. So weird, different, and interesting, and so amazing to taste. But like, I could go on a whole tangent of food. It's crazy.
I could too. We're not kidding. That's
right. I could go on a whole tangent of just food.
I cook a lot too. I dive into a lot of like vegan cooking and like what I can do with like different like meat alternatives and like what I can. I don't have access. I have a dairy allergy, so I don't have access to a lot of like. I can't have regular pizza. I can't have mac and cheese. So I can't like go to a restaurant and get fancy buffalo mac and cheese. So I have to kind of like figure out how to make my own buffalo mac and cheese dip with like vegan stuff. So I experiment a lot with that. But aside from that stuff, do you have anything else that you want your audience to know about you and your band? Do you have any music coming out anytime soon?
I don't have any music planned for the immediate 3-month release.
Okay. Do you have music out already under your own name or under Stars Burn Red?
Under my own name, I do have 2 EPs and a single out under Billy McGuire. I know I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and I know that there's other music distributors. I can't remember what else I'm under. But I know Stars Burn Red. I know we don't have any proper recordings released, but our YouTube channel, which is the band name Stars Burn Red, we do have a few of our originals up for people to listen to, and we are currently in the talks of actually dedicating some time and booking studio time to get music recorded for that project as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on today. It was nice to have you.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
You can find Billy's music on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, and his socials will be linked below so you can find him and explore more for yourself. Thanks for listening, and tune in next time to learn about your favorite local musicians.